Even a year later, I'm still pretty impressed by Samsung's work with its Gear S2. It was cute, it had some decent Tizen apps, and by far the best control scheme I've ever used on a smartwatch. It wasn't perfect though, so it's no surprise Samsung is back at it again this year with two new versions, the Gear S3 Classic and Gear S3 Frontier. Before we go any further, know this. Deep down inside, they're basically the same watch. Same dual-core Exynos processor, same 768 megabytes of RAM, same 380 mAh battery, same 1.3-inch screen running at a 360 by 360, same version of Tizen, same GPS, same altimeter and barometric pressure sensor. You get where I'm going with this. The differences between the two are almost completely cosmetic. The spinning bezel on the Classic, for example, is completely clean except for a textured edge for extra grippiness. Otherwise, it's just a lot of clean lines and pretty stainless steel. The Frontier, on the other hand, looks more rugged with its knurled buttons and chunky wristbands. They're actually equally sturdy with their IP68 water-resistant bodies and the Gorilla Glass SR Plus sheets covering their screens, but the Frontier definitely feels more like it's ready to rumble. I didn't expect it to be my speed, but now I gotta tell you, it's the model my wrist craves for some reason. They're both very attractive watches, just in very different ways. The thing is, they're definitely not for everyone because they're so big. The Frontier and Classic bodies are 46 millimeters across, which means they can easily dwarf tinier wrists. Still, I've got pretty small arms and both models felt pretty comfortable to me. They weren't overly heavy, and though the leather bands were stiff, that's just one of those issues that works itself out over time. Anyway, the only real substantive difference between these two watches is wireless connectivity. The Frontier gets an integrated LTE radio for HD calling, while the Classic just has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. The move makes sense. The Frontier's cellular connection obviously could save a life in the wilderness, but it seems sort of odd to leave it out of the ostensibly fancier model. Meanwhile, Samsung has done a really nice job expanding what these Tizen-powered watches are capable of. You can now twist the bezel to silence alarms and answer phone calls, for instance, and pay for your coffee with Samsung Pay. Both versions of the S3 picked up some S-Health tricks from the Gear Fit 2 as well. They'll support leaderboards and automatically start tracking your workouts. For all its faults, the Gear S2 helped Samsung find its smartwatch footing. With the Gear S3 Classic and Frontier though, Samsung is getting more comfortable and letting more of its character shine through. Stay tuned, both models are set to launch later this year and we'll dig deeper when they do.